What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you why we have to use if name is equal to main in our Python files. Now basically I'll have to give you an analogy about how we have to use it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make two new Python files right here, and I'll name one as main sub Python file and second as sub Python file. So I'll write main Python file, and after that, as you can see, my Python file is opened here. So I'll make another Python file right here, and I'll name it as sub main Python file. Sub main Python file. And I know the names are a bit elongated, but it's okay. So I'm going to close the other tabs, and after this guys, as you can see, my sub main Python file is opened. So now what I can write is that now if I want to define some functions, I can write def func, and for example this function takes in an str, and after that it returns this is an str, and it returns the str. So it returns this is an str, and after that it concatenates the str to this statement right here. And after that I'll make another function. This function basically subtracts 5 from the subtraction of them. So for that I'm going to write var1 comma var2, that is it takes two arguments, and after that it returns var1 minus var2. And after that, for example, this is the subtraction of these two numbers, but our function, it reduces 5 from the subtraction value. So I'm going to put this in brackets, and after that I'm going to write minus 5. So as you can see guys, that I have made two functions right here. One is func and the second is sub, and they basically do a simple thing, that is one does subtraction and the other returns the str. So guys, if I want to use these functions, and if I go to my main python file.py, so I can write import sub main Python file. And if you guys haven't watched my how import works in Python video, the link will be in the description for the Python playlist. You can go on the playlist, and I think so that video is the 44th or 45th one. So what you can do is that you can go and access that video, and as you can see guys, that I have accessed the Python file in my directory, that is YouTube tutorials, and I can do that. So I have written import sub main Python file, and after that basically I can use its function. So I'll write sub main Python file dot, and after that I'll use the func function, and if I write unch is a good boy, and if I run this program right here, as you can see it will print something, that is this is an str and unch is a good boy. And after that, if I want to use the sub function, so I'm going to replicate this and I'll put in some variables. So I'll write 3 comma 5, and this should basically give me minus 7. So if I run this, as you can see it is giving me minus 7, and our functions work perfectly fine. So guys, as you can see that this is our Python file from which we imported the functions inside this main Python file, and we basically use these functions. Now guys, if I want to use these functions inside this sub main Python file, what I can do is that I can write print func, and after that I'll write unch is a very good boy. Remember guys, I'm writing unch is a very good boy in this Python file, the sub main Python file, and I'm writing unch is a good boy in the main Python file. So now if I run this program right here, that is the sub main Python file program right here, as you can see it has printed this is an str and unch is a very good boy. But now if I run the main Python file right here, as you can see it will print the unch is a very good boy as well. That's the first sentence right here, as you can see that this is an str and unch is a very good boy. Now guys, why did this happen? Now I'll write some other statements as well, not just one statement. So if I use these function, that is the sub function, and if I provide 3 comma 4 into it, so it should give me around minus 6. And if I run the main Python file right here, as you can see it will also give me the minus 6. Now guys, why is this happening? Why is it printing everything that's in the sub main Python file? Guys, whenever we import some Python files, what happens that Python executes that Python file, and basically it just prints everything that's inside it. So for that purpose we'll have to use if name is equal to main. Now if name is equal to main is basically the driver function. now if you people have come from C or C++, and even if you don't, it does not matter. So in C and C++, there's a function known as the main function, which is the driver function from which the Python program is starting. So when we write main right here in our PyCharm ID, as you can see, it is giving us a suggestion that do you want to write if name underscore underscore is equal to main. So if I click on this, and basically I'll have to put an indent here to specify the Python that this everything here, right here, it's inside this driver function. So when I write this, as you can see, this is inside my driver function. So whenever I import this sub main Python file, it goes through everything, and then it does not execute this main function. It only executes it when I run the sub main Python file. That is, it does not execute it when I import it, but it executes it when I run the sub main Python file. So if I run this program right here, as you can see, it has printed everything as we expected. And if I run this program right here, the main Python file, it will print everything that's just inside this Python file. It won't print anything that's inside the main function. So that's how it works, guys. And if I print the name right here, so if I write this is name, and guys, as you can see that when we import our files, the thing that is written outside the main function, so that will be printed. And I have written this statement, that is, this is name underscore underscore name outside the main function. So if I run my main Python file right here, as you can see, it will print this is name sub main Python file. That is, our name is equal to the name of my Python file, that is sub main Python file, and it only executes the main function when this name is equal to name of my Python file. So that's why this if statement is getting executed, or else it won't get executed. And for example, if I run this Python file right here, as you can see, it will print this is name underscore underscore main. So that's why the if statement condition gets satisfied. And this happens because the Python file right here, when we write if underscore underscore name, the underscore underscore name attribute right here, it signifies the name of our Python file. And it is equal to main inside our Python file when we run it, inside the same Python file when we run it. So that's why this if condition gets triggered, and we call this as the driver function of a Python file. So I hope, guys, that you understood today's video. If anyone tells you that is there a driver function in Python, you don't have to say yes, because we'll talk about that in our next few videos, that why this is basically not considered as the main function. Because basically in Python you can write any print statement or anything without writing this if underscore underscore name conditional. So that's why Python does not have a main function. But just to specify, that is, if you want to use some of the functions in the file, and if you don't want the Python file to execute all of its print statements, so what you can do is that you can put it inside this main function, and from that you can import the Python files. So I hope, guys, that you understood today's video. And if you haven't accessed my Python for Absolute Beginners playlist, the link is in the description. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Hope you're safe, and I'll see you next time.